Welcome to Zos Chanuka. Thank you, Akiva, for that wonderful press. Um, so today's a very special day, and if you don't really take a few moments to connect it, it could pass you by as a regular Monday. And the amount of bracha that's meant to be nishband on a day like today is amazing. And a lot of people may think that who am I, Roy, to bring down such bracha to this world? Bracha hashbas or bracha is brought down to tzaddikim by tzaddikim, and that I really deserve to connect to all the tremendous madrigas of today? To connect to tremendous madrigas, you have to be a Baal madriga. But the chiddush of Zos Chanuka is that Zos Chanuka is the hashbas comes so with such abundance that a person doesn't have to make a cheshbon. That what was my first light? What first night I'd like? What was the last week like? Was last night was last night's avoda tzugepas to bring down such bracha from today, and we tend to grade ourselves and decide whether we think we're roi for bracha, and only then we try to be mashpia to ourselves what we think we're roi for. But we look at ourselves through our own human eyes and our own shortcomings. We have to look at ourselves through HaKadosh Baruch Hu's eyes. HaKadosh Baruch Hu's view of Klal Yisrael. HaKadosh Baruch Hu so much wants to give, and the Yid is Piskli Pesach Kechudesh Amachat. You make a little effort, and you don't have to judge yourself in the past. You have to know right now what do you want right now. When you come to that Isbainis now, and you realize in the moment that Eilam Hazeh has nothing to offer other than Korvat HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Ani Kiras Halakim Li Taiv. This is what I want, and anything other than that is really just a mirage, and this tremendous sense of charata for ever being fooled by it. And when a person comes to that hakara, in the moment, the person is immediately connected to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And a day like Zos Chanuka, when that connection happens, it happens to a place where a tremendous amount of hashpahs come down, a tremendous amount of bracha, in very tangible types of ways. People think bracha is intangible. A person in Zos Chanuka has to recognize that the bracha that comes down today can be very tangible in as much as b'ni, as far as having children, and any hachana for having children, which be zivugim and chayib, and having health and happiness, and mizayni and parnasa b'revach. These are the brachas that come down b'shefa today, because we know that the Gemara tells us b'ni chayim mizayni loy b'schus italia el b'bazal italia. That a person's ability to achieve in these areas of building a family and having health and longevity and mizaynis and having parnasa b'rebach, all these are totally mazel. And today, Zos Chanuka is the day where the mazel elyon is open for the taking. A person has the ability to connect to the mazel elyon and bring the mazel elyon all the way down to the mazel tachtain, because today, Zos Chanuka, is the midos that are shayla today, that are nishpat today, are the midos of the Yud Gimel midos of noitza chesed la'alafim, noisi avman v'fesha v'chata avin akei. Those are the midas that are shayla today, because as we know, every day of Chanukah, one of the Yud Gimel midas is shayla. So the first 7 days of Chanukah, the first 7 midas are shayla, ke'al rachum, chanun, erech, apayim, v'rav chesed, v'emes. The last day of Chanukah is the remaining 6 midas are all nishba, and these midas are noitza until nakeh. Noitza is called mazel elyon, and nakeh is called mazel tachtain. And the ability to connect to a person to mishan is mazel, to mashpia from mazel elyon, which really means when we talk about mazel, what does it mean mazel? We know ain't mazel Yisrael, right? But mazel means loy b'schus italia. It's not totally in merit. Normally you think that you want something, you have to earn it. When a person connects to mazel, he's connecting to a tremendous ratzon elyon, a tremendous foundation of love between HaKadosh Baruch Hu and Klal Yisrael that's beyond any havana, beyond any cheshbon. And that's what's connected. That's what a person connects to today on Zos Chanuka. Why is that? I mean, it's not really why is that, but what is the pshat behind it? Is because normal hanhagas ha'olam has to do with the number 7. 7 is the world of physics, right? The Shivasim Abinyan, Olam Hazeh is 7. When you get Lamaila from 7, when you get to 8, you get Lamaila min Ateva. You get to something before Bereshis Bar Elikim. You get before Bria. What's before Bria? Before Bria is pure Ratzon, right? HaKadosh Baruch Hu, before Kav Yochel, he got down to the mice of building a world. He just was an Olam of Ratzon, just tremendous sense of desire. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu Kav Yachol just dreamt about Klal Yisrael, how Klal Yisrael, he's going to be mated to Klal Yisrael. When HaKadosh Baruch Hu was before Olam HaMaisa, he says we have to give Hatava, we have to give only good, only good. Why does Hashem want to give good? HaKadosh Baruch Hu Kav Yachol just is an abundance of Tov. He just wants to flow forward. So before the cheshbonos of Olam Hazeh is a process that all of a sudden we need a cheshbon. We need a world. We need to get past Namadi Kesufa. So the Olam Hazeh is a whole process of trying to get mechanics that you actually earn that Hatava. But when you're holding by Shmoina, you're holding above the Zayim Binyan. You hold about Kadosh Baruch and Olam HaRatzon. And Olam HaRatzon is before any cheshbonos. Okay, how are we going to get there? Just pure Ratzon. The Kadosh Baruch Hu wants to be mated. B'shvil Yisrael Shnei Karesha. The Kadosh Baruch Hu wants to shower Klal Yisrael with the ultimate hatava, without any shear, without any strings attached. And male, this is what is the madreg of today, the anhag of today, Zos Chanuka, Shmini Dikadei, where we connect HaKadosh Baruch Hu and HaKadosh Baruch Hu's Ratzon, and the way we connect is by us developing a Ratzon. Everyone has to look inside themselves and allow your Ratzon to really to connect HaKadosh Baruch Hu, because everybody has the outside. You have Ritzonos Chitzonios, right? You have Ritzonos. We want to connect. We want to have money. We want to have a car. We want to have nice shoes. We want to have all sorts of things that are very chitzoni. We know it's chitzoni, but at the end of the day, I want a nice tie. I want a nice hat. Why? Because it's going to tickle my back and the chitzoni stick away. But when you also get past all the chitzonis and you get to Ratzon Pnimi, and you realize it's all nothing. And really, what I want is my tachlis. I want my connection to HaKadosh Baruch Hu to be gans, because that is the Ratzon that is permeating the Bria. Mikach HaKadosh Baruch Hu's Ratzon. When you connect to that Ratzon, that's where Yid naturally connects. That's where Yid belongs. There's not a kasha when you end up over there. The natural American would say, "I don't belong there. I belong to getting a new tie." It's like Chanukah. I should be going to Century 21 today, and Shabbat for I'm off. I should shop for a new tie. I don't belong to be getting all welled up in emotion in the Olam HaRatzon, right? But the answer is there's no further furthest from the truth. No, a Yid Be'emes has the ultimate ability to connect in his Ratzon to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And yes, there's a certain chitzonis that you need just to have a certain normal way of life. But ultimately, a Yid is more Ratzon than more pneumius than chitzonis, and that's what Zos Chanuka is a day of connection. This tremendous Ratzon HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and Ratzon HaKadosh Baruch Hu ultimately is the ultimate hatava. HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants to give tachlis hatayv, not just stam tayv. He wants to give hikayim chasadim tayvim. It's going to be the ultimate tayv, the tachlis hatayv, and this is what we connect to today. Just to talk a little bit about maybe the kavanas of the Yid Gimel Sharachamim. So when it comes to the kavanah, actually the Arizal says you're supposed to be mechavan the kavanah all the time. It's interesting. The Arizal is really, what he's saying is that Yid has to always tap into this tremendous tifa ratzon of what HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants to be made in. When a Yid is Isaac and Avodas Hashem, Zak the Arizal, you're sitting and learning, and what are you doing? What do you do when you're sitting and learning? Right? It's just a habit. It's a pastime. It's a nice pursuit. It's a good hobby. It's chachma. No, what is it? It's ultimately connecting to Tachas Abriya. Right? You connected to the ultimate Ratzon HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's what Torah is. Torah is Ratzon HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and you're connecting to the ultimate Ratzon HaKadosh Baruch Hu when you sit and learn. That's the reason you're sitting and learning. You should be mechavin tamid. This kavanah. He gives you a kavanah to be mechavin all the time when you're sitting and learning. Now the Rizal gives many kavanas to be mechavin, all the time, because that's what in the Rizal's world you weren't mechavin anything other than connecting to Kadosh Baruch Hu, and every moment has its matzav where a person has siyat d'shmaya to connect in the unique way of that moment. But he says when you're sitting and learning, you should mechavin tamid is this lashon, I believe. He says as follows: you should picture Azay. You should picture Shem Hashem, the Shem Eke. Right? Shem Eke is spelled Aleph K Yud K. And it's spelled with. So there are three ways to write the Shem Eke. To write the Hayes in the Eke, where it's spelled Aleph K Yud K. The Hayes could be spelled with KK, two Hayes, a Hay and an Aleph, and a Hay and a Yud. He says you should mechav in the Shem Eke with Mila Hayin. Right, which has been Gematria 151, which has actually been Gematria Mikvah. It's one of the Kavanas when a person goes into the Mikvah. That a person that's the shame of tshuva. Eka is the shame of tshuva. Shame of mitar person, and he says person shemechaven the shame eka is mashpia, which is the shame of eka is kula chesed. Right, it's lamala. It's the shame of it's olam habina, olam chachma, olam habina. It's the olam of Yemei Shmoina, right? We know Chanukah is Yemei Bina, Yemei Shmoina. Bina is the Sfira Shminas. Lamala for the 7 Yemei Abin, 7 days of Teva, and Yemechavin that the Shem Eke b'miloi Heyin, right, is mashpia to two other Shemos that start with an Aleph. Shem Elikim starts with an Aleph, and Shem Aleph Dalid Adei Shem, right, starts with an Aleph. Okay, these two Shemos of Hakadosh Baruch Hu are Elikim and Aleph Dalid. These are Shemos of Din, and your kavana is that Shem Eke, which is Kula Chesed, right, should connect to the Shemos of Elikim and Aleph Dalid. Okay, and it should be mashpia to those Shemos which are more of Din, more hanhaga of things have to work, things have to make sense, and you mashpia that the Shem Ekev, which is Chesed, is be mashpia to Din and be mamtik those dinim. Okay, so he says, I say, noitze Chesed la'alofim, that you have kavana that the Shem of Chesed, which is Yud Ke Vav Ke b'milo Yud, right? When you write Yud Ke Vav Ke Yud Vav and Dal Ke Yud, Vav Yud and Vav Ke in Yud, right? So that's Big Matcha 72, which is Big Matcha Chesed. That's ultimate Chesed, which is Chachma. Chesed is mashpia to Eke, right? Shem Eke with Milahain is Bina, okay? Which in turn is mamtik the din of Aleph Dalid of Adishem and Alikim, which both mean this adin. And when you have that hashpah, that's noitze Chesed la'alofim. You have the three shemos of alofim of Eke, right? Which is with Eke, Elikim, and Aleph Dalid, right? That is what Chesed we must be to, and then it filters all the way down until you get to such a hashpah of Vinake. Vinake is Shem Eke with Yuds, which corresponds to a uplifted Bina, right? When Eke is b'milei Hey, that's Bina. When the Eke is b'milei, I believe that's Bina. When the Eke is b'milei Yud, that's Chachma. Okay, so what you're doing is you're raising all the midas hadin up to madrega of kula chesed. That's what's going on in the kavanas of noitz chesed la'alafim. Noitz avim v'fesha v'chata avim akei. That there's avim, there's pesha, there's chata, there's all sorts of shortcomings, right? But it's not a steer to v'nake. A person can through connection to Ratzon, he can rise above all shortcomings, right? And not only rise above it. A person thinks he rises above it. Okay, fine. You're not going to get beaten. But do you have a core with HaKadosh Baruch Hu? No, the chiddush is that when a yid drops his baggage, he naturally connects. And that's the nice chesed la'alofim, nice oven b'fesha v'chata oven akeh. That is the kavanah that the Arizal says in a person should be mechavan all the time. A person is sitting and learning, he should think that HaKadosh Baruch Hu should be mashpia from the ilam of chesed to the midas hadin, right? And it should be mashpia that there should be a tremendous that the ilam of ratzon should connect down to ilam hazeh. And allow us to really rise above all the pluses and minuses, all the tightness and all the shortcomings that a yid has. And a yid sits down to open a Gemara. You don't have to think about your shortcomings. Right now, you have the ability of connecting to Eilam HaRatzon, and when you connect to Eilam HaRatzon, then all of a sudden you find that the world, when you come back to Eilam Hazeh, it's a changed world. All the Ava and Pesha and the Chata has been totally cleansed. And a person can pick up from there, doesn't have to look back, and that's what's coming down b'shefa on Zos Chanuka. It's a tremendous uftu, right? That a yid can somehow leave Olam HaMaisa and connect to Olam HaRatzon, right? In the real world, right? In the world of non Yiddishkeit. Ratzon's nothing, right? It's show me the money, right? It's like the road to Gehenna is lined with good intentions. Intentions mean nothing to right. Well, it's a thought that okay. Intentions don't mean much, right? You don't get any grades on intention. and unfortunately, even in Yiddishkeit, and when you're living in a world where people are still getting graded and judged on a daily basis, i.e., school and yeshiva, it's unfortunate, right? Intention and the taras alev nefesh is not something that's not generally quantified, because unfortunately this is not, it's not something that is really focused on. I mean, in the Hasidic yeshivas they probably focus on a little bit more, but that's what Yiddishkeit is. Yiddishkeit is, the Yid has an ability to really rise above his nature, and when you connect to Olam Haratz, and then you could reconnect to your nature and start again from fresh. And this is something that would be referred to as the ability of a Yid to take Olam Hazeh and raise it. Right, that's what we're doing. We're raising Olam Hazeh. Or what we've described it to is we make connections. We make a chibur between Shemayim and Aretz. And this is the whole yontiv of Chanukah. We spoke about it on Thursday night, right? But the whole yontiv of Chanukah is celebrating this ability, because when you look at the life of the Chashmonaim, what they were dealing with, a messaging that was probably being broadcast a lot louder than any media being broadcast today, and had infiltrated Mamish Klal Yisrael to an amazing amount. And the thought that Klal Yisrael could somehow, in an instant, flip around the whole metzius of Klal Yisrael, which was literally catapulting, which is literally like in a downward spiral, heading into the chayshach and into the depths of the chayshach of Yavan, and how's it going to stop? It was so compelling, right? Every Yid was a Jet fan. Every Yid was the Greek, what do they call the Yavan Yankees fan, you know what I'm saying? And they spent the whole afternoon. Who knows what they were doing every afternoon, and it was much more decadent the way they no, it wasn't. It wasn't more refined, and it could be it was more refined, but it was intellectual. But it was all very much leading towards total hedonism, as they call it, which means it was a worship. It literally was a worship of nowadays it's not a worship. The society now doesn't worship anything. Society is just like it's mitzvah hanashim melamad. Even the sports, even the right. Even this, they don't worship anything. They have no ratzon to exist bichlal. The Yavanim had a tremendous ratzon. They had a tremendous ratzon to worship themselves. Literally, it was a worship, and the sports was literally, they knew it was a worship. Nowadays, people sit around and watch sports. They don't have that they're worshiping. They are worshiping, right? But they do. It's mitzvah nashim alamada. It's minig aviseim, right? My daughter told me that she came home from school, and one day, she's like in third grade, she says, what fan are we? I said, what do you mean? She said, well, she says, so my class told me that she's a Yankee fan. And I said, what does that mean? She says, I like the Yankees. And you go, why do you like the Yankees? She said, because my father likes the Yankees, and my brother liked the Yankees, and my grandparents like, I like the Yankees. So she wondered, what do we like? Like, I'm like, so. But that's literally what it was. It was a tremendous avoid of total disconnect, and it was a worshiping Olam Hazeh, that the Olam Hazeh exists to be worshipped, totally disconnected. And the fact that the Chashmonai with the Mesiras Nefesh were able to really remake a connection, to replug in a Beis Hamikdash, that all the lights went on. You would have thought after the destruction of Yavin, you go in, fine, you turn on the lights, they're not going to go on. You figure the wiring must be out all over the place. No, they went in, they turned on the lights, and the menorah lit for 8 days straight. They were still connected. All the circuitry was still connected. How does it connect? Because Klal Yisrael, you connected in a moment, right? The Vavi Mishkan Efnen, the moment of Ratz, and you rebuild the entire Beis Hamikdash. All the circuitry is immediately rebuilt. This is what Klal Yisrael saw. Klal Yisrael lit the menorah, and they lit the menorah. They saw. Right, what are they celebrating? They're celebrating Gashmistik and Nes, and Nes that oil was super burning. No, what they're celebrating is that when they lit the Shemona Neris in the Beis Hamikdash, they saw immediately that all the Hashpos and the Shemona Neris that are in Shemayim that correspond to these Neris were immediately lit. They felt the Hashpah, which is Parashat Ba'aloischa. The Zohar says, the pasuk says, Landed this morning. Dabal Aaron V'Mart Ela B'Haloischas HaNeiros El Mul Pnei HaMenorah Yi'iru Shivas HaNeiros. What's El Mul Pnei HaMenorah? What's the lesson? It's facing the Pnei HaMenorah Yi'iru Shivas HaNeiros. It sounds like there's two menorahs over here, and this is what the Zohar says. Yes, there's two menorahs over here. There's a menorah l'milmata where you have his iris milmata of a rotzen to be mekabel the ar of Hakadosh Baruch Hu, the Shef Hakadosh Baruch Hu, and all the chachma and all the tremendous hatav of Hakadosh Baruch Hu. The Yarlakim is ar ki tayv that you have a rotzen for this. The ar hagon is that Hakadosh Baruch Hu set aside the tzaddikim lasu lavai. When you have that, when you do that ma'isa and you have that rotzen, then El Mul Pnei Menorah you Shivas HaNeiros, the Shiva Neiros in Shemayim are going to correspond to your Shivas HaNeiros, and this is the kavanah when you light the menorah. That was the kavanah is that you should atcha tei shal hebes oila me'eleha. What does it mean atcha tei shal hebes oila me'eleha? It means the kavanah is when you light the nair and it's already burning. Don't take away your nair yet. You're waiting for another nair to come down. Clap it from Shemayim. That the Shabbat shall have a hashpah from Hakadosh Baruch Hu. Al mul pnei menorah you Shabbat neir. And that's what that's what the kavanah of when you light the neiros are, and that was the kavanah of the Beis Hamikdash. I was just thinking that the mul pnei menorah hel neir. It says Amul Pnei Menorah Yair Shivas HaNeiros. So Yakin Amul Pnei Menorah. Just look at the word by Shachas of this today. Mul and mul, right? The mul is Mei Lamed Vav, right? It's the two Lamed Vavs of our Hadlakas HaMenorah. We have Lamed Vav Neiros, so we light in Chanukah, right? There's an Indian of mul. It's Lamed Vav, mul Lamed Vav, Mei Lamed Vav, two Lamed Vav, and when you have Lamed Vav Neiros and Chanukah. And you have the corresponding Lamed Vav Neiros and Shemayim that are Meir Keneged are Lamed Vav Neiros. So Lamed Vav and Lamed Vav is 72, right? You have 72. 72 is Chesed, right? What is the Chesed? The Chesed is that when a Yid connects to Kadosh Baruch Hu and his Ratzon to connect to Kadosh Baruch Hu, so Kadosh Baruch Hu is mashpia all this Ar Lamata, and this Ar Lamata which becomes Nisgal is the Ar Hagonas, right? We know the Ar Hagonas is called Taiv, right? Vayarlakim is Arki Taiv. Taiv refers to the Araganas. So you have the Araganas is being mayor connected the Lamed Vav Neiros and the Lamed Vav Neiros which would be the 72 Neiros, which would be Chesed. So you have Chesed Mitzad Menorah, and which brings down the Hashpah of Taiv, which is Araganas. Chesed Taiv, right? This is a well-known gematria. Chesed Taiv is gematria Chanukah. And Chanukah ultimately is an ability for Yid to have a ratzon of Lamed Vav, which corresponds to Lamed Vav Neiros that min Shemayim that's mashpia lamata, and it brings the Araganos lamata to us, and then we have Chesed Taiv, which is the gematria Chanukah. The Kitzer, a lot more to say. We spoke a lot about. We spoke a lot more about it. Yeah. This is this Indian of being able to make a connection between Shemayim and Aretz, and this ratzon that's developed in a Yid to make this ratzon. It starts with what? It starts with an hakara. What's the hakara, right? Calls out a person is waiting for something to happen to him. Give me, right? He's connected to all the Rav Develt, right? He's tzaking keklavim, I'm have. Right? The Klip of the Tumah says, give me. Calls out a Yid is waiting for something big to happen, for him to be taken away to on vacation and to be pleasured. Right, so then he's not ripe for connecting to Kadosh Baruch Hu. The Aleph is you have to recognize that we owe Kadosh Baruch Hu everything. And just the fact that a Yid can come to this world and think one machshava Kadosh Baruch Hu in his mind and connect to Kadosh Baruch Hu with his mind, let alone with his speech, and let alone with his ma'isa, it's unbelievable that a Yid has an ability to connect to Kadosh Baruch Hu so fully. This is the madrega that a Yid has to start getting to before he's going to start making this connection. And this madrega is really called midas hahaid. Midas hahaid is a person has a sense of Haidot HaKadosh Baruch Hu, spotless HaKadosh Baruch Hu, right? Calls upon you waiting for something. No, he's spotless. I'm waiting. Give me. And when a person even davens like to Hashem, give me, come on, I really want, give me, right? not as spotless, right? It's just like I need so much. I have so much retardus that I have nothing to do with you, nothing to do with what you want to give me. It's all my own egg and retardus. It's always spotless. But if a person davens, give me what I want, give me what I want, without being vatless themselves. So I'm not saying Kadosh Baruch Hu not shemei tefillah, but that's not the ultimate way for Kadosh Baruch Hu to be shemei tefillah. Kadosh Baruch Hu shemei tefillah hashpas comes down lemata. Well, first he is mevatel himself to Kadosh Baruch Hu. When he is mevatel himself to Kadosh Baruch Hu, and he realizes that my whole tachas is a Kadosh Baruch Hu's tachas, then he's connected to Kadosh Baruch Hu. And from there, once a yid is at the madrega of Haid, where he's mevatel himself to Kadosh Baruch Hu, then the next midah is Yisaid. Yisaid is all of a sudden Yisaid, all the bracha wells up in Yisaid. When the yid is mevatel himself, he finds that Yisaid is the midah Yisaid is full of bracha, waiting to be mashpia lamata. Right, Yisaid is where the Ar HaGanos is found. Right, the Chazal tells Hakadosh Baruch Hu, "Ras Arki Tov v'Ganzay l'Tzadikim la'asad lavai." What does it mean? Is Ganzay l'Tzadikim la'asad lavai? He was going to it in Midas HaYisayid, which happens to be when the Yid is Mekadosh himself. He's mevatel his taivus of Bailam Hazeh, and he's Mekadosh himself, and Midas HaYisayid is tahar. Right, this is the result of his spotless Hakadosh Baruch Hu, and that's where the Arki Tov is found in Midas HaYisayid. So when the Yid connects to midas ha'haid, that automatically brings him to a matzav that now he could be a tzaddik, and he can connect to the Ar HaGanos, which is ganas. The R in it's hidden in the midah of tzaddik, and the midah side is the Ar HaGanos, which is ki type. The Yavan was misnaga to this totally, right? Yavan that he mevatel yourself to Kadosh Baruch Hu. This is thinking mevatel yourself. We're the getchka, right? HaKadosh Baruch Hu, if there is HaKadosh Baruch Hu, he's going to have to zushtal to us, right? And they insisted upon literally self-worship. They're mamash and hisnagdas to any hispatlus to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We express midas hahayd in the bracha of maidim. Maidim is the ultimate hispatlus, right? When you bow down in Shemay Nesrei, that's ultimate hispatlus. Maidim is bigamatria 100, because when a person is mevatel himself to HaKadosh Baruch Hu with haydah, this brings down kuf brachas. For the kavan of maidim is kuf brachas is connected to the union of maidim. Right? When a yid is mevatel himself, this brings down mea brachas. What's mea brachas? You have 10 spheres. It's shleimus. Every sphere has in it its own 10 spheres. It goes forever. But when we talk about a shleimus, we talk about 110 spheres of shleimus, 10 times 10. When he is mevatel himself, this opens up all the connections of all the spheres above to bring harbe shafa and bracha. The Yavanim were misnaged to any hispatlus, right? They felt somehow we're going kaichi v'aitzim yadi. We're going to empower ourselves, worship ourselves, and we're going to bring ourselves. We're going to make ourselves into something special. Just an interesting kavana. Just we mentioned this in the past that just to bring out, let's just say we're Shimshon Astrapoli, we said in the past, and then we'll speak out. Say something interesting remez. Midas hahayd, when a person is shalim the midas hahayd of his palace to Kadosh Baruch Hu, that leads to shalim, right? That leads to midas hayisayid, right? To our ganas and midas hayisayid, right? Maidim takes to some shalim, right? When a person bows in Shemay Nesrei, what is the kavan? The kavan is total his palace to Kadosh Baruch Hu. But there's a kavana when you bow as follows, and maybe it's not even think about, right? That when you bow down to Kadosh Baruch Hu, so we have two shemas of Kadosh Baruch Hu. We have Yud Kei Vav Kei, which Kadosh Baruch Hu is mashpia, right? Which is shem of Chesed, and we have Shem Aleph Dal, the way we say Yud Kei Vav Kei, right? The Shem Aleph Dal, the way we say Yud Kei Vav Kei, is Olam Hazeh, Olam Hamayis, Olam Adin, right? The Shem Aleph Dal is really it's din. That's the sherish. Aleph Dal is din, right? So we have the Midas HaChesed and we have Midas HaDin, and we make a tziruf between the two every time we say Hashem's name, right? We say Aleph Dal, but we think Chesed. When you kareya in Shemay Nesrei, so the kavan is as follows: the first kriya in the beginning of Shemay Nesrei of Magen Avram is you align Yud Kei Vav Kei on top, Aleph Dal below it. Okay, picture those two shapes, one above the next. Yud Kei Vav Kei. Yeah, we'll leave it there. Yud Kei Vav Kei and Aleph Dal. Okay, the Yud. When you bow the first kriya, you have in mind that the yud, which is from the shem of chesed, should be kareya down, and when you lift up, it's lifting up the aleph from shem aleph dal, meaning it's uplifting Midas Hadin, be mamtik the din. By the second kriya by Magen Avram, as you can see, you have mechavan that the hey should be correct to the dalid, and as it lifts up the dalid. Also, that chelik of Midas Hadin. When you get to Moedim, the vav of Yudke Vavke bows to the nun of Adna, and it raises it up, and the Heachroin of in Hatayshim Chalchan Eloides bows down to the Yud, and it lifts up the Yud, and this way you have a imamtik all the dinim of shame of Havai is mamtik the dinim of Aleph Dal. The and this is total hisbatlus, right? I mean, it's the hisbatlus which is mamtik all the dinim. Yavin is misnaget to this hisbatlus, so they're misnaget to the moedim. Right, they're okay in the Olam Machshava. Right, Yud K should be Mabdik Alf Dalid. Right, that's all Olam Machshava. It's not Olam Hazeh. Olam Hazeh is Vav K. Right, and let me snag that they don't want the kriya of Moedim, the Vav to the Nun, to connect. Right, they don't want that connection. We're misnagging. So where do they stare? At least where are they trying to stare? The Vav and should not be created a Nun. And if the Vav is not created, then the Yud of Aleph Dalid, right? It's Aleph Dal Nun and then Yud, right? If the Vav doesn't connect to the Yud, then the Nun, then the Yud's also disconnected. What do you have? You have Isis Yavan. This is Yavan rears its head over there, right? They don't want to allow you to connect in this Indian of his patas. Adarabba, but when Yid is Mechaven, what does he get? He gets a total ispatlus, which brings to ultimate shleimus, which brings him to the midah of shalim, which is the side that over there, and the side that's we said that the kanzel tzaddik and last lavai that the midas that the aragon is nignas in the sphere of your side, and this brings the source of all bracha in bracha shui el from shalim. Shalim is the source of all bracha. Shimshon Ashapoli says as follows. He says, how do you get from what we were just describing to shalim? He says we have Yud K Vav K on top of Aleph Dal. He said the phrase Aleinu Sukas Shleimecha. He calls it the Sukas Shalim. The Schach is Yud K Vav K, and the Defalanais is Aleph Dalet, right? And then you do a little multiplication. Yud times Aleph, right? In the Kriyas, Yud times Aleph is 1 times 10 times 1 is 10. K times Dalet is 20 up to 30. Vav times Nun is 300, right? 6 times 50 is 300, 330. And then hey times is 50 up to 380. 380 gives you a big matcha shalom. Shalom is a matcha 376 with his 4. Isis is 380. He says, if it's first aleinu sukkah shleimecha, when you make a sukkah that the Shem Havai is the schach to the Shem Aleph Dalet, that brings you sukkah shleimecha, which brings you after all this is spotless and you create vishtachavayis. Now mahalzik by sim shalom tov bracha chayim chen v'chesed rachem aleinu malchai salmecha brachinu min kolen kechad bar penecha or aganis. Once you have our Aganis, Tayas Chaim, Avas Chesed, Tzedakah, Bracha, Racham, V'chaim, V'shalom, Chol Time. Right. So this is what Yavan is trying to stare. Klaisel has Bracha sitting, waiting to pour down with a little hispatos, with a little connection to the inner rutzen of knowing that Olam Hazeh offers us nothing but a little distraction and a little tickle. You know what I'm saying? You can spend your life with just getting little what? A low, yeah, you can get yours, whatever. It's a low simmer, it's a high simmer. Well, what do you get? If the person gets a little kairos, a little distraction, and this is what a person thinks he's going to make do. He's going to invest. How to get this pleasure up from point 1 to point 111, and he thinks he's taking over the world. He has a little kairos ruach in his life. Look at me, I'm feeling a mashu greater than the guy next to me, a little lower down in the bowl, right? And that's your whole outlook. The whole outlook is literally I want to get from here to here, and I'm happy. But there's a whole world of Yibadish that's waiting to pour down this bracha of nitzchias and simcha and kol tuv sela. And this is what Yav is trying to shortchange Klal Yisrael. This is what Klal Yisrael is able to achieve with this Mesiras Nefesh. That could be zeicha to find the rutin inside of ourselves, and have the zchus to ma'ir the rutin and elyon to pour it down. All the shefa bracha that we know Hashem is so desperate to give the whole Klal Yisrael, and the chesar is just mitzidenu that we're distracted, that we give no place for the bracha to be chal. I was telling someone recently. I told someone like this. Let me give you a muscle. I call you up and say, come over to my house. I want to give $1 million. Right? He says, great. I say, okay, well, you have to bring a suitcase for $1 million. Fine. He comes over to the house. We open up the suitcase. I start taking out $1 million. Open up the suitcase. It's full of DVDs. I say, what are we supposed to do? Where am I supposed to put all the money? I say, you got to get rid of all those DVDs. He said, I need those DVDs. It's my DVD collection. You know what I'm saying? I say, fine, bring me a different suitcase. Bring another suitcase, right? We open it up. It's full of electronic devices. Next one's full of this food. Next one's full of this. I said, what do you want? I want to give you $1 million. Just give me. I just want to hand it to you. He says, but I can't empty out any of my own ritzainis. I said, HaKadosh Baruch Hu says he wants to give his call to sell. He says, just come to be mavata yourself. Get rid of some of your ritzainis, and I can fill you up with the real ritzainis, with the real bracha. I said, no, I need my kayach for this. I need my kayach for vacation. I need to be running here. I need to be running there, and there's no place for HaKadosh Baruch Hu to give his bracha. The miniyim from HaKadosh Baruch Hu is all HaKadosh Baruch Hu is unfortunately it's mitzidein that we see blindly fill up all our kelim that mekabel the bracha with all sorts of nourishkeit, and when a yid is mevatel himself to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, he empties out these kelim, and all of a sudden he becomes so available for all the shafa bracha v'atzlacha when he connects with his ratzon. His ratzon yishtaka b'yizaycher that the nights of chesed la'alofim nights of avim v'pesha v'chatav v'nakei combined with kel rachem v'chanun. Erech Hapayim v'Rav Chesed v'Emes should pour down on all of us. Shtaka b'Zaychet v'Bini Chayim v'Zayni and all good Zachin Hashpos of Avas Hashem and Yirash Hashem, which will propel us. Ad Bias Goyal Tzedek Meher B'Yameinu. Feich and Zos Chanuka. Chaim.